Welcome to Marriage in Real Life with your host, Eric and Patsy Richards, a podcast about two imperfect people with an imperfect marriage. This podcast aims to help listeners know that God, who is perfect, can use your imperfections and your imperfect marriage to help others. So let's laugh and learn. I hope you enjoy the episode, and let's get straight into it.
Well, welcome to Marriage in Real Life.
Welcome.
Well, hey, we're so glad that you could join us today for this special occasion in season 3. Are you excited, babe?
I am so excited.
All right, good to go. All right, we're going to give a hand clap out to everybody who's watching. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from. Put it in there in the chat, so we can give you a shout out throughout the show. As well, so we want to make sure we do that. So, hey, what happened these last 2 weeks? We always started out with that. Well,
we've been so busy.
Talking to your mic, babe.
Okay, let me pull it a little bit close.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't get that right.
You know what? Let's not start that. Okay, so it's here, so I don't want to turn this way.
You scoot over there.
Okay, I can scoot over.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I know you're trying to be close to me and everything. I know how that is.
Hey, why not?
All right, good to go. Smell good, look good.
Stop that.
All right.
Let's see date night. We went on date night Friday night. Oh, thank you, babe. You took me down to, what was the name of the restaurant?
Del Rey. I don't forgot the name of the restaurant.
Is it something Houston something?
No, it wasn't no Houston.
Oh,
You thinking of the marriage retreat? That wasn't no,
Oh, okay. Well, nevertheless, I had a fantastic time.
Okay, good. All right.
Amazing.
So good a clap for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did good.
You my dude.
All right. So I did good. Yeah, we had a good time at Del Rey. I wish, we could have walked it a little bit, but it would start raining.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So yeah, so that was it. I got a call today from Nikki, talking about our grandbaby who you came and you said that she was a genius.
She was a genius. I
All
tried
right.
to tell y'all ain't gonna believe me.
Oh God, here we go again. All right, so yeah, and that in 5th grade they have already marked her to be taking high school courses in the 7th grade, and then in the 11th grade be on doing dual enrollment. So they've already marked her to doing that. She's getting like 100%. She said that Juicy has been turning in work and has been what's the word been organized. And I said Juicy. Oh Lord, not Juicy, not the Juicy we know, but you know how that go. But hey, I'm so proud of Juicy. You predicted it, or did you prophesy it? Which one is it?
I gotta be careful with my mouth.
All right, now.
I did. I told y'all. I say this. In the field that I work in, I've come across zillions of children from infancy up to 5 years old. I've seen it all, but I had never seen anybody just so focused like she was. Even like at 4 months, I used to read to Nikki's belly, green eggs and ham.
Green eggs and ham.
I would read it to her belly every night. I was like, "You ready?" She's like, "Mom." I'm like, "Listen, I'm giving her a bedtime story." And I remember babysitting her. She had to be like maybe 3.5, almost 4 months. And I said, "Well, let's read a story." And when I grabbed the book, I said, "Green eggs and ham." And this little baby leaped out my lap to grab that book. And I guess she was like, "Wait a minute, I know this." And I was like, "Babe, this is not normal." So I was like, "She a genius." I told y'all, but we got this other one coming up, and she's smart too.
Yeah, she's smart too.
Blessings of the Lord.
Yeah. Matter of fact, leading on to Amaya, we had Amaya this weekend and Royal. We did grandparent and godparent dude, and boy, look at him.
We were
exhausted. After church on Sunday, boy, I don't usually take a nap. I watch football, but Lord, I had to take a nap, boy. They wore me out. While y'all out there on them painting and twisting, I'm out there dealing with them too. Boy, I'm telling you. But it was good. It was good.
That's another thing. Me and the ladies of the church, a few of them couldn't make it this time, but we did do painting with a twist with the breast cancer awareness theme. We had a good time. Of course, I I don't paint very well, so I told Lee, "Can I just use my fingers?" And she was like, "When this not a finger painting class, that's where I should be. I should not be over here." But it turned out great, and I truly enjoyed spending time with them.
Okay.
Because sometimes you got to get outside of the walls of the church and fellowship.
Yeah, that's right.
That was great.
That was a great time, and
Mhm.
and so we know that this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Month. I know some other things, but those are the two main things, and we just want to make sure that that everybody you get checked, and breast cancer it's a myth that is only for women.
Mhm.
It's for men as well, so we got to make sure we get checked as well. So we just want to just give a clap to all the breast cancer survivors.
Yay.
Yeah. You did it. You did it. You went through some heartaches and some pains, and for those who's going through, I just want to let them know that God got you.
Amen.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, God got you. He cares for you. I preached that message yesterday. Finally ended my sermon series, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, he cares for you, and he really does cares for you. And with domestic violence, I tell you what, a joker better not be hitting on a woman. I'm telling you now, you have to go and lay some hands and get some oil, get some special hands.
Cooking oil.
Get the cooking oil. And that's another myth too, is that that it only happened to women.
That's true.
It happens to men too, and sometimes like Jordan had said to me, being ashamed is a thing that keep a lot of Christians from telling their story, because they're ashamed, and a lot of men, they be ashamed that they're being abused by their wives, and I'm talking about physically abused, and so we got to just let it out, and don't be ashamed. And so I thank God that Real Life Church is a safe place that you can talk, and it's no judgment, and that if something is like that is happening, we want to be able to deal with it in the right way. Right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. And just a shout out to as a domestic violence survivor myself, a lot of people don't realize that it starts in high school.
Wow.
These young boys, they control and dominate these girls, and they think it's okay because he's cute and he's on the football team. So if you know of a young girl, if she just popping up with bruises out of nowhere, and she's not, athletic, or she's hiding, and just pull her to the side. I think if someone would have pulled me to the side, I would have realized my value and not continued
Wow.
in that violent relationship.
Wow.
It's not just the physical; it's the power, it's the control of them thinking, of them wanting to have every aspect of you, and you think it's all fun, and you think it's just so cute. He loves me. He don't like when I talk to the next guy. No, baby girl. He finna wait, what do y'all call it in football? Or is it basketball? Okie doke. He's finna okie doke you.
That's boxing, baby.
See, I don't even know.
Boy, I tell you.
But he finna give you the business. So, they really need someone to encourage them and let them know that it's a better way. It's a better way. So the Lord had laid it in my mind in prayer this morning about teenagers, and they really suffer. It's a really, really large percentage of them that suffer with domestic violence in high school, in college.
And when it comes down to marriage, if a man is beating on his spouse, and the children are seeing, we got to understand what the scripture says, that a man should love his wife as Christ loved the church.
Amen.
I've never heard of Christ abusing the church.
Amen.
I've never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes, I hate to say this, but sometimes in the church, it happens more in the church than it do outside. It's been happening. And the church has been responsible for keeping women in, I hope I don't get in trouble, keeping women inside the household, be saying that don't worry about it, baby, just pray for it. Just keep praying. He gonna stop. And the church has been responsible for a lot of women that are dead. I just said the church is, because we've been all in these religious rules and taking the scripture really out of context. But I've never heard of the Christ abusing the church, and he never will. Right?
Amen.
All right. So hey, that's it. That's my spiel. That's my sermon for tonight.
Okay.
You know, I always got to get a little sermon. You know me. I got to get a little sermon. Well, tonight we are so happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm just overjoyed to have our guest in the house, Pastor Barr. She's been a dear friend with the church for a long time. And so we're so glad to have her in and have her speak. So we're going to welcome Pastor Barr.
Welcome, beautiful.
Hello.
All right. Yeah. We're so glad that you could join us tonight. So Pastor Barr, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm ecstatic to be here. I'm just so happy that you all thought of little old me.
Oh, come on now.
Guys on tonight.
Come on now. Well, before we got Nikki in the house, from Tallahassee. Hey, Nikki, what's going on? We gotta give them a shout out. We got the Little Richards in the house. We gotta give a Little Richards a shout out. So just keep letting us know that you're in the house. So Pastor Barr, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit, to the audience, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and everything.
Well, I'm the senior pastor of the New Life Praise and Worship Center here in Fort Lauderdale, a church that my late husband and I started. At this point, about 20 years ago, we started the ministry, and we built the ministry together. And we went through. Well, since this is a marriage a marriage podcast, I'll tell you our story.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good.
My husband and I, we met in February of 1994.
Okay.
We got married in August of 1994.
Oh no! Come on, y'all didn't date that long.
6 months.
Oh boy!
Okay.
All right.
6 months.
All right.
He didn't tell me, but he told other people. He told some of his close people. He said, "When I saw her, that's my wife.
Ooh.
That's my wife."
Wow.
That's almost like what she said to,
Said
she
about
told
you?
somebody. Yeah. I was a little cute little something there.
He said when he saw me, he knew that I was his wife. And but as we started talking, because a dear friend of ours introduced us to each other, and he was like, he's really interested. Let me give him your number. And I'm like, no. He was a pastor.
Uh-oh.
And I had grown up in the church. I have a lot of family members who were in ministry, and I had worked in ministry pretty much all of my life. I didn't want a pastor. I knew what came with that. I knew the responsibility and the accountability that came with that. So I really didn't want a pastor. And when he kept pursuing me, so I was talking to the Lord. And I'm like, Lord, is this what I'm supposed to do? And he gave me confirmation. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one. So within a 6-month period of time, we were married.
Okay.
And then we stayed married for 28 years.
Wow.
All right.
Awesome.
28 years.
28 years.
28 years we were married, and until the Lord called him home. And the thing of it is, he wasn't just my husband; he was my best friend.
All right now.
Wow.
He was my best friend. We were able to work together in ministry. We worked together in life. We had a blast. We could confide in each other, and we had a no judgment zone.
Okay.
We were able to live life together, and we really enjoyed life together. And some people need to understand that even though you have to go through struggles in marriage, because nothing is, even though the two are becoming one flesh, you're still two individuals.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're still two individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes with his history, I come with my history, and then we have to blend it together, and it comes with compromise. It comes with commitment, and that's the problem a lot of times. We don't want to compromise, and we don't want that commitment.
Oh man.
We don't want that commitment. And I always teach that Christ has to be the first. See,
Right. That's right.
he has to be the first.
I'll let you know on that one.
Yes.
Because going through some things that you have to go through, it'll take God and God Himself to carry you through.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to have that Christ that at the center, at the center of everything. So and I think that was the biggest thing that really kept us moving forward, because through the tough times we could pray together.
Okay.
We could pray together. You know, it's easy when we're having fun and when we're laughing, and but when the darts start flying,
Right.
you're having the issues, not only in your marriage, but if you're having issues because we were in ministry, having issues with ministry, we were able to come and pray together, and so we had that connection. We had a connection. We had commitment. We had Christ the center of everything. So that helped us a lot in our journey.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did y'all argue?
I'm not one to argue.
Oh, okay.
He used to get upset because I wouldn't argue.
Ooh, that sounds like somebody I know.
No, I wouldn't argue. We had disagreements. Yes. Yes, we had disagreements, but I wouldn't argue.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't argue. And it was funny because when we got married, he was already a pastor. He was a pastor, and he was a math coach. So he taught teachers how to teach.
Okay.
So he was in leadership in both of his professions.
Wow.
I was in leadership in my day-to-day job. I was an administrator with the school system. So I told people what to do. So when we came home, both of us were in positions of power.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but when we came home, we had to release that. We had to release that. So I didn't argue. And he would say to people, you know what? I try to fuss with her, and she won't even argue. She won't argue. No, but I was there. But it was funny because he says, you know, I tell people what to do all the time. You're the only person that I can't just tell what to do. But we were both in positions of leadership outside of the home. So when we came home, we had to work on that. We had to tweak that, and I had to step back a lot. I had to step back sometimes because, again, being in a position of power and being an independent woman, when we made that connection, some things had to change. Okay. Some things had to change, yeah.
So did you find it difficult, like, stepping back and, like, because sometimes I'd be like, you know what, I need to tread lightly because he's not one to argue. He'll be like, okay, Patsy, fine. I'll be like, so now I'm thinking, you don't care because you don't listen to my feelings and you're not responding back. But I had to realize it took me a long time.
Okay.
And it took me a long time to step back and say, okay. Because I come from a big family. I'm like the oldest of 200 and something grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And it's just him, his mom, his sister, and his dad. But I come from a tribe.
Okay.
So it was hard for me to tone down. Because in the tribe, if you don't eat, you don't eat. If you don't grab that chicken, you know what I'm saying? So you had to do a lot of speaking out and being noticed and standing up for yourself in the midst of all that. So it was really hard for me to come all the way down and say, I don't have to do that anymore.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
you know,
you don't.
You know,
because they used to call me the quiet storm.
Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Because I'm not going to argue. I'm going to tell you what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what I think should be done, and then I'm going to step back. And that's how I operate. I still operate like that now. I'm not going to beg anybody to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you to. If I have to ask you more than 3 times, I just assume that that's not what you want to do.
Right.
And you have to learn to choose your battles. You choose your battles. Every battle is not worth fighting. Yeah. Every battle is not yours. So, yeah.
Okay,
Every battle is not yours.
So stepping back from that, when you said, okay, because you guys are both powerful people and, leaders, how did you manage that? You just stepped away and said, okay, this ain't worth the fight right now?
Well, it took a lot of intervention by the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
It took a lot of intervention by the Holy Spirit in order for me to learn, because it is learned behavior, and to learn, okay, so this isn't even worth a fight. Just Let that go. Not everything is, and then you know what you find, because I'm going to tell you, as you know, the Lord set it up where He took us out of the man. You know, He took us. We're the rib. We're the rib. He took us out of the man, and He gave man the position of leadership. But and I get a lot of times questions that come to me that say, you know, with couples where, well, she won't submit. She's not submissive. And I explain it to them this way. Submission is a compound word. Sub, to come under. Mission, a plan. So I ask the question, what's your plan?
I'm gonna write that down.
And a lot of times, they can't give me a plan.
Okay.
So how is someone supposed to come under a plan that's non-existent?
Ooh. Yeah. I like that.
So
That's true.
in most cases, where the battle is, where the struggle is a struggle. It's a power struggle where they're calling it submission. And if you read the scripture, it tells you to submit one to another.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it tells you to submit one to another. So if it's a plan, a mutual plan that makes sense, who doesn't want to follow it?
Yeah. That's right. All right.
And that's it. That's what
And she over here doing like this. I guess I got to do that.
I'm always saying, you know what? I will follow you, but you have to have a plan, and that plan consists of you following God. As long as you follow
Right.
God, I'm gonna follow you.
Right.
You know, and it's easy for me, and we run into that a lot too when we do marriage counseling about why should I submit? He need to submit. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I have to tell them that submission is not a bad word.
Not at all.
It's not a bad word at all. And when he's doing what he's supposed to do, you'll be submitting without even knowing that that's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You'll be submitting with the God, like you say, with God in the
Because
center of it.
If the man, the leader, is in alignment with the word of God, it's easy to follow.
Yeah, it falls.
It's easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all talking some good stuff. We had while you were talking, we had Jonathan Russell joining us. He's saying looking forward to the words of wisdom and gems that will be shared in this episode. We got Ferg.
Hey, Ferg.
Hey, Ferg. And so we thank God for Jonathan and
Hey,
Ferg.
Jonathan. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. How I guess it goes on to the question when you said compromise. How was it difficult to compromise as well? You know, given you being an independent woman, was it very difficult for you to compromise?
It was something that I had to step back and look at myself. I had to look at myself because I was accustomed to getting what I wanted when I wanted it and how I wanted it.
Yeah.
Amen.
And so I had to step back and take a look at myself. Take a look at myself and realize that not everything was necessary. Not everything was necessary. And so as long as it was a compromise that was for the good of the relationship, why won't you do it? Why won't you do it?
I like that.
Yeah. So
Because that's where I'm starting to find myself now. Eric and I have been married 32 years.
okay.
And I'm starting to find that compromise is
It's not bad.
not a bad
It's
thing.
not bad.
It makes life so much easier. It's drama free, and Eric and I are best friends too. So, but I tell you, but it was definitely
Because
learning.
let me tell you, a lot of times, for instance, you might want to take a European vacation.
Oh Lord,
Yes, I do.
it's Pastor Barr. Please don't put nothing in the head.
Okay, but
Don't put nothing in the head. Next thing
the
you know,
budget-
she'll be talking about, hey, let's go
Wait a
on.
minute, wait a minute, okay.
you might want to go to Paris, but the budget doesn't say that you can afford to do it. So let's step back and think about this. Is it worth me spending the mortgage money
Mm.
to go to Paris when we can go to Orlando and have a good time with each other?
Orlando, here we come.
Exactly. Compromise. If it's good for the marriage, if it's good for the household, we have to sit back and think about some things sometimes. So compromise is not a bad thing. Does it make sense? So let's sit back and think about that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
What you say to people or marriages where they would say, "Well, I'm the only one that's compromising." It seems like like you gave an example with Patsy want to go to Europe or Paris, and say she keeps saying this, and seems like to her she's the only one that's compromising. Is like he ain't compromising. Well, it seems like he's not compromising anything, but it seems like I'm the only one compromising. What do you say to people like that?
you need to sit down and have a conversation.
Okay.
Communication is key. Communication is key. That's another one of those C's that we have to deal with. Communication. With communication, your marriage will go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
A communication. Because a lot of times we go on assumptions. And a lot of the problems that we deal with are expectations, unrealized expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And the unrealized expectations is because they have not been communicated.
Okay.
They haven't been communicated. So you just need to sit down and have an adult conversation. Because no marriage can be one-sided. It can't be. It can't be. It won't work one-sided.
Right.
You both have to be willing.
Yeah.
You both have to be willing
Mm-hmm.
to give and take.
Right.
So I can't have everything I want my way all the time and never consider my partner.
Yes. Yes.
We have to consider each other.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Ferg, we got a delay, but it's about 15 seconds delay. And Ferg says, when he talked about the plan, I got to use that, Pastor Barr. I tell you, it says if we have $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. That's $24K in 4 years. See, that's the plan that she can submit to. That he's given the amount of money. This is what we're gonna do, and that's a plan. And I think that's a good deal. You got to have a plan.
You got to.
And you got to write it and make it plain. One thing Patsy and I do, she just took down the thing, but we got to get ready in December, I guess.
Yes.
Go away and we write down our plan for the year. What is our focus? The first thing we always do, we say, God, and people are like, what? We go to God, we say, God, we want to give this amount of money in tithes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we go to God. We say, we want to give this amount of money. We look at last year and we say, we want to give more, and we want to give. And people say, well, why y'all do that? Because we know if we go to God and say we want to give this amount, God will supply our needs in order to give that much.
Absolutely.
Right? And then we just start going through what's happening in January, February. When is our vacation? What are we going on? And we make a plan and we write it down and we go through it. And hey, this is our vision for this year, and this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. If there's any deviation from that, we always come to one another and say, hey, I forgot about this. I forgot about that. But like you said, we have to make a plan, and do it that way. What you think?
Absolutely, step by step. And sometimes we have to add in stuff because somebody is a busy person.
Oh boy.
Add in more things, and I'm like, okay, but yeah, I think it's important to when you see the vision, write it and make it plain.
Well, you said sometimes things are thrown in there, so we always have to tweak life.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We always have to tweak life.
I'm gonna write that one down. Well, I got some notes over here.
Yes, sir. We got some notes tonight, boy. I'm telling you guys, we got to tweak life.
Tweak life.
We got to tweak it. We may have a plan, but God has another plan.
Another plan.
Got that, baby? All right. So, tonight we really wanted to get into the marriage vows. Thanks to my lovely wife who came up with this series. And it's in sickness and in health and till death do us part. I believe you could do both of them. We have a friend that's on Ferg. that also a very, very dear friend of ours who also lost his wife, and he's, Okinawan friend. So we were very, matter of fact, she lost breast cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at one marriage retreat, he came and he taught from where he was in North Carolina. We were in Orlando, and it gave our retreaters something to think about. And we often, like I was telling you offline, is a lot of times young couples that's getting married, they don't really know what they're getting into.
Right.
And you got to say what you said because they really don't know. And when you try to tell them, yeah, okay. And if they haven't seen their parents go through it, they really don't know. But in sickness and in health, you gotta be there for your spouse.
You've got to.
Yeah, it's no going away. It's no, well, let me pay for an aid. We don't have that kind of money to be paying for an aid, right? And so I want you to just tell us your experience with Bishop and how it was for you, your thoughts, and any struggles that you had when he was coming through the sickness part with Bishop.
Well, in our journey, my husband, who was a walking miracle, he really was. He was a walking, talking, breathing miracle. In our vows, we did take the vow in sickness and in health, forsaking all others,
Mm-hmm.
till death do us part.
Mm-hmm.
And when I make a vow, I take it very seriously. And we were speaking about, a lot of the people who we marry now, the young people who get married, they don't realize what they're getting into because a lot of times they prepare for the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't prepare for the marriage.
Yes, I got to get.
Yeah, they prepare for the wedding, but they don't prepare for the marriage. The wedding is just going to be a celebration for a day.
Mm-hmm.
But the marriage is something that they need to prepare for a lifetime.
Yes, yes.
And even though she may be 36, 24, 36 right now,
Talk to us.
over the years, all of that's going to change.
Yeah.
He might be big and strappy right now, this hunk of a man, but all that's going to change.
Right.
Yeah, that six-pack turns into a keg.
Yes, sir.
And so things change, and over the years that's just nature.
Right.
Things change, people change, and at some point in time, one or the other is going to start having some health issues. When we got married, so we thought both of us were healthy. And like 5 years into our marriage, my husband was diagnosed with kidney cancer. I think it was about 5 years. It was early on, I know. He had kidney cancer, which was found, quote unquote, by mistake. And when they took the kidney, all of the cancer was in the kidney where he didn't have to have any chemo or radiation. When they took that kidney, all of the cancer was removed. Then it went on where we had other issues. He ended up with having to have a AAA bypass
Okay.
because he had aortic aneurysm, which they found by mistake.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, mistake. Which usually when they find that, it's too late.
Right.
They have ruptured and they bled out.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up on dialysis because the other kidney went. And we had several issues that we had to deal with. And through each stage, we dealt with it together. We dealt with it together. And when it got down to his final stages, because he, like I said, he was a walking, talking, living miracle. He was on dialysis for 22 years.
Whoa. Wow. I would have never known that.
You would have never known.
Not the way he was up there
no.
preaching and carrying on.
He still worked. He still preached. He still carried the ministry. So if you didn't know, you didn't know.
Wow. Wow.
where he was going to dialysis 3 times a week.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I never would have known
You
that.
never would have known.
Never.
Again, if you didn't know, you didn't know.
Mm.
But after he did that, he was home, and we had to deal with issues because, of course, he got weak and those type things. But when it got to his final, well, not even his final days, because he had to go to the hospital a few times. One time he went and he was in the hospital for 2 months.
Mm.
I was in the hospital with him every day
Mm.
for the 2 months. He was in there, and he had to go to rehab. And in that time he went in the hospital. He came out between rehab and the hospital. He was there again for almost 2 months, something like that. And the Lord healed him. We prayed. The Lord healed him, and he was back in the church and back into ministry and all. While he was in there, again, I was at the hospital with him every day. I still carried the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still with him every day. And when it came down to his final hospital stay, this time he was in there again almost 2 months. He said to me, and you all know him, he was a man who was going to just...
Mm-hmm.
And he was preparing me. You all were there. They had his pastoral anniversary.
Yes, yes, we
Pastoral
were.
anniversary. You all were there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked in, I knew it was his last time walking in the church.
Mm.
I saw it. I didn't want to accept it.
Mm.
And I sat by him and I smiled, and I tried to smile, but tears rolled all night long. And he looked at me one day. He looked at me and said, "It's your time.
Wow.
It's your time." And I'm like, "I know. Okay, it's your time." On our way home, he looked at me and said, "Wifey," because I was wifey.
Yeah, that's what he called it, like.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
"Wifey, it's your time." I never could have asked for a better wife. You've gone above and beyond what was required of you as a wife. When I'm gone, I know you're going to grieve. I know you're going to go through. But when you get yourself together, I don't want you to be by yourself. You're still young. You're a beautiful woman. You don't need to be by yourself. And I'm like, "Listen, man, I don't want to hear that. You're going to be okay. We've been through this before. You're going to be okay."
Right.
He says to me, "But I sure made sure I made it hard for the next man."
Yeah, give a shout out.
Because he set the bar really high. He did. He
high.
set the bar. He set the bar. And when I took him to the hospital that was that Saturday night, I took him to the hospital Tuesday. And he was trying to prepare me, letting me know that he wasn't coming home. And I still didn't want to hear it, right? And he was in the hospital at that time for almost 2 months. A month and almost 2 months. I had one of my members from the church, and you never understand, and you never know who's paying you any attention.
Mm-hmm.
She would call me at the hospital every day. She would call me every day and ask, "How are you doing? Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm here at the hospital." That was during COVID, so they wouldn't let me spend the night. But they did let me stay from visitation in the morning all the way till the evening until the visitors had to leave. And so I'm there with him, and, I stayed there with him. Even though he couldn't communicate, I was there with him. And she would call every day, "Where are you?" "I'm at the hospital." "Okay, you're okay? Yeah, you need anything?" "No, I'm good." And then she told me, she says, "At one point I stopped asking you where you were because I knew where you were.
Mm-hmm.
You were at the hospital with your husband."
Mm.
She was in the hospital with her husband the night that he transitioned. They were there because he had a lot of loved ones, family around him when he transitioned. She said, "I sat there and I looked at you. You held his hand and stroked his head until he took his last breath. You literally showed us what 'till death do us part' was."
Wow, man.
And I'm like, I never thought of it like that. I was just doing what I knew to do for my husband.
Right.
And hopefully and prayerfully he would have done the same thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was there. Was it easy? No. It wasn't. It wasn't easy. I sat there. We listened to music, and all of the nurses and the doctors who would come in there, and they would ask me, where do you get this strength?
Mm.
And I said, it's nobody but God.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
nobody but God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just reminded just the other day, they said, you know, I witnessed you sitting there with your husband transitioning in ICU, and you went around to another family to pray for a family whose family member was transitioning.
Mm.
And you know, I said, you know, I forgot about that. But the doctors came in to me, the nurses, and I guess the chaplains. They heard what went on, and they came in the hospital room with me, and they asked me, "How did you do that?"
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Says that's what I'm called to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm called to do.
Wow.
So that even with the humanness, no, I didn't want to release him. I wasn't ready. I didn't want him to go because that was the humanness in me.
Right.
Right.
But I knew that he had done what the Lord had called him to do.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that he lived a life that was pleasing to God. Because let me tell you something, we can fool folk on the outside.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
But the people who live with you know who you are.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They know how you live.
Right. Right.
And I knew he lived a life that was pleasing to God. So I literally told him that I release him.
Wow. Yeah.
I literally told him I release him. Said you fought a good fight. You finished your course. It's now time for you to get your crown.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. I said, I'm going to be okay. He opened his eyes, looked at me and smiled and said, I love you.
Wow.
Oh my
Closed his eyes, and within an hour he had transitioned.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
And that is awesome because you know you some people they don't stay in for the fight. They walk
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. And and you say they walk away. They walk away because it's not an easy thing.
Mm.
It's not an easy thing. And that's why in the good times you have to prepare for the bad.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
In the good times you have to prepare for the bad times because the bad times will come.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come.
And I have to tell the younger people, not even the younger people, some of the older people.
Oh yes.
Some of the older people, you know, we need to make an investment now.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make an investment now because just like in the physical bank, if you don't put anything in there, when times get hard, you're not going to have anything to draw.
Mm-hmm.
You can't withdraw anything because you have not placed anything in there. You have not invested anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to invest. We have to invest. Marriage is an investment.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can we get a clap on that?
Okay. All right. Well, let me know.
So we have to invest. We have to invest and we have to sow into our marriage. And one thing, and I love that you all do the marriage broadcast and the retreats and all of that because it is needed. Because what we used to do something called marriage maintenance.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Marriage
that.
maintenance.
Marriage maintenance.
Because with your car, if you don't keep it properly maintained, it's gonna break down.
Yes,
on
Yes,
sir.
it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so it's the same with your marriage. You have to have maintenance. You have to make sure that you're keeping it alive.
Amen.
That's it.
That
That's
you're-
it.
That you
Oh Lord, look at here. Well, you know what they say: never give a pastor a mic, never put a pastor on a podcast, because you know they're gonna preach now.
Listen.
Right. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Right, ladies? Y'all chime in out there. You heard that?
Yeah, you
Marriage maintenance. I'm putting
you
this in the
have to
chat.
have marriage maintenance. You have to maintain your marriage.
Um,
I totally
Did-
agree with that.
did during the times, did you ever get the Psalms 13 thing where like David asked God how long? Did you ever get to the point of saying, Lord, how long are we gonna have to deal with this? 5 years into the marriage, we dealt with this. This is how long are we gonna have to deal with it? Did you ever get to that?
Actually, I never did.
Okay.
I never did. Not that, because he said to me one time, you didn't sign up for this.
Mm.
And I said, I did.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I said, till death do us part.
Mm-hmm.
I said, in sickness and in health.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you're at a point of being sick. So what I'm to do is to be here for you. Now, my mother was a nurse.
Okay.
And my mother could take care of anybody and anything, no matter what it was that they were dealing with. Well, I didn't have that same spirit.
All right. All right.
I didn't. I didn't have that same spirit where I could just go and take care of anybody and take care of bandages and all kinds of things, that weren't so pretty.
Right.
Yeah, because actually in the sicknesses that I had to deal with, some things were downright ugly, that I had to deal with, and but the love for my husband and the love for God kept me in there, and I did it because that was my husband. He was my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the nurse's aide responsibility.
Oh man.
Right.
Mhm.
I hear you.
Because someone told me, well, what you need to do is just call somebody to come in and take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see about getting someone who will come in and take care of him. Say, he's my responsibility.
Wow.
He's my responsibility. I'll make sure that I do what I need to do for him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. I gotta give you some props there for that, Bob. We had Ferg had said something here. He had said, because again I told you, like, he had dealt with kind of like the same thing from him, taking care of his wife, and he said he have to add that, I guess when in his situation sometimes you get angry at them for being ill. You're not mad at them, but you're mad at the illness.
I understand what he's saying because I would try to push my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, I would try to push him. Not physically push him,
I know.
but I would try to push him to do more.
Okay, gotcha.
I would try to push him to do more. And I'm like, well, you can do more. You can do more. You can do more. I know that you're ill, but come on.
Wow.
Let's do this. Let's do that. You can do more. Don't sit here and just pretty much just don't just sit here and die.
Right. Okay.
I would push him to do more. And he would get frustrated because a person who's used to doing, and I'm used to doing for myself, I'm used to doing this, they get frustrated. And a lot of time, ill people aren't so nice.
Yeah.
Because they angry at. I used to be this vibrant.
Yes.
Go getter, and now I can barely lift my
Yes.
head off the pillow, and I have to depend on. Am I a burden? And
that's the thing. That's
they
the
get
thing.
angry because they
Because
feel
he would
like
say, I don't want to be a
you're
burden.
Yes.
I'm like, you're not a burden. You're my husband.
And that's what I think that's what happened with my grandmother. We didn't intentionally bounce her around, but we all had careers, so we had to okay,
Everybody
you take her over here, and then we can drop her off over there. And I said to her one day, I said, well, how you doing? She said, I'm just tired of being bounced here and there. Oh, take me over this place, take me over that place. And she was just like, I'm done with all this. And I realized at that time that she was just really tired. She didn't want to be a burden, and then she would fuss with us, and I was like, yeah, she's getting irritable, she's getting ready.
You know what? And that was one thing that really, really got me to the point where I was able to release him. Because he would say to me, I'm tired. I'm tired. He said to me one time, the only thing is I don't want to leave you. I'm tired.
So that, okay.
I just don't want to leave you. And I realized that he was tired, and it had gotten to a point where they just couldn't do anything more for him. At the hospital, they couldn't do anything more for him, and I realized that it was just my selfishness.
Yeah. I would be selfish. I think I would. I would release, but it'll take me a minute to get to that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was my selfishness that was keeping him, and that's why he had the ability to smile when I told him I released him.
Wow.
He probably was like,
He couldn't talk, but he mouthed, "I love you."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that's it. I mean, because I remember back when my dad passed, and it came to me. It just came to me. Sometimes we're praying for people to stay when they are ready to go,
So
Yeah.
they're ready.
and we're being selfish, like you said, on our own. Wow, no, you can't leave.
Not
But
yet.
yeah, not yet. But we have to look at it. Them being here, suffering and doing all this kind of stuff, they just get tired of doctors and people poking at them and all of this and going here and going there, and they just and especially if they're a Christian, they just ready to see Jesus, you know. And we've been praying, no, don't go, and we are holding them there when they ready to go, and like you said, we have to just release them. And I remember my dad saying, "Hey, I'm tired, Eric. I'm ready to go. Stop praying, you know." And I said, "Okay, all right, you know." But that's a good thing when, you know, when they ready to go, we just have to just pray and release them.
Yeah, I got there when, you know, the doctors kept saying, well, you know, there's really nothing else we can do. We can't do anything. They couldn't give him any more treatments, dialysis treatments, because his blood pressure was so low. So his pressure wasn't up high enough, and it was a whole series of things. But and I got to the point where I talked to the Lord, and I'm like, you know, I just got to release the selfishness, because it was my selfishness wanting him to stay,
Yeah.
and he was not living at that point. He was existing. He was existing. So I had to release him, and a lot of things, and I didn't have therapy,
Wow. No.
which I should have.
I'd have been
Through
talking
it.
to somebody
Yeah,
here.
do that through
Through
it.
it.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
yeah.
I should have had therapy, but I didn't. I had just lost my dad, I guess less than 2 years before he passed away.
Wow.
Actually, my husband eulogized my dad.
Wow.
And so now when I'm kind of getting myself together from losing my dad, then I'm losing my husband. Both of my coverings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I should, and I'm speaking, you know, now I should have had therapy during that time, during the periods of losing the both of them, but I didn't. Afterwards, I'm in the church, making sure everybody's okay at the church, because they had lost their overseer.
Right.
Never mind, I lost my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that they're okay. And of course, I had my daughter and my grandchildren, and I had to make sure that they were okay. Make sure they had therapy, so forth and so on. And then I sat back and I'm like, I'm taking care of everybody else.
Yes. I was going to ask you, who took care of you?
I need to
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to make sure that I'm okay.
Right. Some
I
self-love.
need to make sure I'm okay.
Absolutely.
And so I, as a matter of fact, I had a phone call from this agency that worked with our insurance and asked me, has anything drastically changed in your life?
Wow.
And I'm like, as a matter of fact, it has.
You got a second? Share this with you.
Well, we work with your insurance, and they will pay 100% for any counseling that you need.
Wow. Look at God.
And I'm like, here I am. Let's do this. So I went through the counseling, and I'm saying this for somebody. So it doesn't mean that you're crazy.
Yes, sir. That's it. Doesn't mean
It doesn't
that.
mean that you're crazy.
Especially in the African American community.
Listen, in the African American community, because we always say, "Don't worry about it, pray about it."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's just getting to the point now where we'll send people to therapy, but they were like, "You don't need the therapist. What you need to do is go to church."
Get on the altar and tear. Yeah.
Listen.
Man,
But
yeah,
God is good. Yes,
Yes,
He is.
yes.
As a matter of fact, He's awesome.
he is.
But sometimes you need somebody who the Lord has prepared to listen to your issue.
That's it right there. Yeah, that's it.
You need to clap over there.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't understand why people wouldn't say that God allowed these people with degrees, and He allowed these people to go through that for certain times. You know, if it wouldn't, you had allowed to have doctors. You allowed to. He allowed all these things to come for a reason,
Absolutely.
so we can use them.
Absolutely. And through that, I was able to learn how to deal with things. They give you different ways of thinking about things, different ways of processing.
Yeah.
Of processing. And so I was able to process because, and let me take it back, because even right after he passed, because, you know, with him being ill then, not only did I have, because I was working still a full-time job.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember your retirement.
Yeah.
I remember.
I was working a full-time job up.
But hold a
until-
minute. Through all of this, being at the hospital, day in, out, day out, and all of this, you were still working full
I
time?
worked a full-time job up until the year where he went in the last time.
Wow.
I worked a full-time job
Wow.
With the school board.
with the school system,
Oh yeah, boy.
administration.
Yeah, I gotta give you a clap on that one.
Yes.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We're not going into that.
I worked a full-time job, carried the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and took care of my husband, my family, all of that. So I had a whole lot of layers that really needed to be processed.
Mm-hmm.
That needed to be processed. And after he passed away, I'm counseling other people who have lost
Wow.
loved ones when I had not had counseling myself.
Wow.
But I understood, not then, but I understood, because a lot of times we don't want to have to deal with things. We don't want to have to go through things. But sometimes things we go through are necessary.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessary. They may not even be for you,
Mm-hmm.
but they're for someone else that you're going to have to encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had people calling me who I didn't know to tell me, I was told that I needed to talk to you.
Mm.
I'm talking about people from all parts of the country.
Wow.
I was told that I needed to talk to you. One young lady whose husband had passed away like 6 years.
Mm.
My husband hadn't been gone for 2 months. And I'm walking her through the grief process.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Mm.
So I then understood, well, a lot of times what I'm going through is to help somebody.
Somebody else. Well, I got to give you a shout out for that.
So I want to read what Jonathan
I
Russell.
want to do that at the end, baby.
Oh,
I want
wait a
to end with that.
minute. Okay, but okay.
I want to end with that. That right there, what Jonathan said, I got to end with that one.
Okay, well, can I say what Miss Matrice Jackson said?
Yeah.
She said, that's my pastor.
Mhm.
Let's give her a hand. Give her a hand.
Yeah.
That's your pastor.
All right,
That's
Martrice. All right, Martrice.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, I think you had some questions that you
Oh,
wanted to
I
ask.
do. Yeah,
you
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to make sure that we get with that.
Okay. 2 questions. But this first one is, okay, so how did you process transitioning to continue pastoring the church? I have this crazy thing in my head that if something happened to him, I'm going to shut this thing down. You know? I ain't gonna be no more real life church. I'm over it. But then as I continue to mature in Christ, the thing always comes on, well, if something happened to him, how would I do that? I mean, like, what was your process? You just, I mean, because
Well, let me tell you something. See, my husband was a slickster. He
Yeah, I already started.
he was preparing me when I didn't know he was preparing me.
Okay.
My husband I think, let's see how long I was like, I think it was 2015. I think it was 2015. He installed me as senior pastor.
Okay.
He became overseer,
Mm-hmm.
but he installed me as senior pastor.
Mm-hmm.
We still did ministry together,
Mhm.
and he still carried a lot of it, majority of it actually. But he had installed me as senior pastor. And as we went through and growing together and growing the ministry together and ministering together and all, to me, I was still his co-pastor to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I was senior pastor.
Mhm.
So the people were accustomed to me being in a position of senior pastor. But your question was, how did I transition
Yeah.
into it? Let me tell you. The Lord, have you ever had the Lord to chastise you?
All right.
Mhm. That's not nice.
Because I sat in my office one day at home after he'd passed away, and I still had the church going. I was sitting there writing a sermon, and I said, Lord, I need to just shut it down. Yeah, this is too much for me to do. I need to just shut it down. And I'm sitting there writing. And the Lord spoke to me just as plainly. He says, Annette, you're speaking out of your emotions. He said, your emotions are valid because I gave them to you. But your emotions have no intellect.
Ooh.
Have you ever been read by God? Okay.
I don't want that to happen again.
He said, what I need you to do is look over your life. And I started remembering some things that from my childhood that I had completely forgotten about.
Mhm.
Completely forgotten about. And he took me from one point to the next and he says, just like I was there with you then, I'm here with you now. And took me from things to things to a point to where I should not even be here.
Mm.
Where he's literally put his hand up to stop the enemy. Just like I was there with you then, I'm here with you now. By the time he finished reading me, I had tears flowing down my eyes.
Wow.
And they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of worship.
Mm.
And the sermon that I was writing completely changed. Completely changed. Lord, I hear you. Lord, I hear you. And that is how I transitioned into carrying the ministry by myself. I heard the voice of the Lord.
All right. Yeah.
I know.
So you good with that, babe?
Yes, I am.
Lord, speak
I
to
am.
her. Speak to her, Lord. Speak,
I
Lord.
remember I had told you you was getting ready to go to New Orleans. I said, listen, I really want to talk to you. I got some things on my mind. And I want to call you. And you say, okay, I'm going to New Orleans. Hit me up when I get back. I said, okay. I never did. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. But that was one of the things that I wanted to ask. One of the things that I wanted to talk about. I never wrote on the dot like, okay, when I grow up, I want to be a pastor's wife. That was nowhere in the plan. So doing it, I don't know. I just felt like this ain't what I signed up for. And I'm so outspoken and I shoot from the hip. I'm my grandmother's granddaughter. I don't know how I could.
Wait till you have to do a sermon where you're going to have to shoot from the hip.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Yes,
my
sir.
goodness.
It's
So I
coming.
was like, so that was one of the things that I was like, yeah, I need somebody to guide me in this thing because I don't want to run people away.
I remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
I don't want to run them away, but I want to be direct and let them know that if Jesus is not in the center of it all, you can't focus. You can't do life without Christ. And
Absolutely not.
you know, it was just so many different things. So that was one of the things that I wanted to ask you about. Like, now that you're not, you know, now Bishop, and by the way, Bishop preached his own eulogy, y'all.
Yes,
It
he
was an
did.
amazing celebration.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
And so now that Bishop, you know, is gone, my thing was like, how in the world did she do that? I don't think I would be able to do that. But now that I hear you, I'm like, I've been beat up by the Lord. He done put me in my place a lot of times. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that was definitely one of them. So this other question I'm going to ask you is going to be a bit candid. So, but if you don't want to answer, that's fine. When I looked at you and Bishop, I didn't just see two people that was lovers of the Lord. Y'all was intertwined. Y'all complimented each other. It was a glow around you guys when I saw you. And I was like, wow, Eric, I said, be like that. You know, we got to be like that. You guys really set the bar high. It was always something that I wanted to. I always told Eric about. I said, just look at him. He did, you know, and it's like he still was like, my girl. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like he would still be like,
Yeah.
my girl. You know. So I was like, that was so awesome. So my thing is, do you ever think that you will remarry? Because you did say that he said he don't want you to be alone, and if so, the barriers because of that. Will they even meet up to those standards?
Listen.
Oh, Lord. Look, here we go.
At first, the answer, I was asked that question like a couple of weeks ago. I was asked something similar to that today. In the beginning, the answer would have been definitely not. I will not marry again.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I had a bad marriage, it's because I had such a good marriage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see that from the outside looking in.
But I'm at the point now, I will, if the Lord sends the right person,
Mm-hmm.
I will. Y'all got to excuse me.
sorry.
You know, I
It's
have,
okay.
It's all right. Good.
But a gentleman asked me today, he said, I know all the men come sit on the front row at your church. I know they're running. I know. And I'm like, actually, no. I've had a few, but not very many. Because anyone who knows me and knew me with my husband knew the standard that my husband set.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there is a level of intimidation.
Yes, sir. There's going to be some. Yep.
A level of intimidation. But I personally, I'm at the point now, I don't want to do ministry by myself.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't want to do ministry by myself. And I don't want to grow old alone.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Lord sends the right person, it will be a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It will
All right.
be a yes.
Well, let me tell you something. You a catch. You are
Lord,
a catch.
here we go. Here
Yes,
we go.
you are.
I thank you.
So I'm surprised they ain't knocking the doors down, but I get that though because Bishop definitely set the bar. I tell you, the first time I met him, and he was like, "Oh, you didn't meet my wife?" He was like, "That's my girl right there." I was like, "Okay." I love that. I was like, you know, like that.
and
That's
I
my
mean,
chick.
28 years of marriage, we were still having date night. We would still date each other.
Yeah, it's
And
important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's
would still
important, but
date
thank
each
you
other.
so
It was-
much. I like
Well, yeah.
that.
Thank you.
So, if the Lord call you, I shall be moving on.
And let me just say this, and I need people to understand, it's something that you don't get over, but you do move forward.
right. I got you.
You don't get over, but you do move forward.
Mm,
Life is for the living.
yeah.
Jesus said, "I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly."
Yes, he did. Amen. He
And
sure
so my intention is to live my abundant life.
did. Awesome. You deserve
So you life is for the living. I'm still living, and I plan to enjoy my life at whatever level that the Lord presents.
it. Okay.
So
Okay.
Right now.
All right. That's good. Yeah. All right. So I know it's a little bit delayed, but still have a little time. If you have, do you mind taking any questions if they call in?
oh,
Pastor on that. All right, yeah. Okay, if you want to call in, the number's there on the screen. The number is not 754-222-2219. Again, 754-222-2219, and you could ask a question for tonight. Before they even call in, now I'm going to read what Jonathan said. I thought it was real good. He says, when you actually realize the depth and gravity of till death do us part, you begin to understand the weight of marriage. And he says this episode has me in tears.
Aww.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So give a shout out to
love that
Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Ferg said too, and that comment, you don't realize how much pain that your loved one is in when he was talking about watching them and releasing them. So I was like, okay, that's deep right there.
And with that comment that he made, we need to understand the vows that we are making.
Yes.
We need to understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the transitions, and as we grow in life, as we grow in marriage, because you're going to grow.
Right.
And as well, you've been married 32 years, right?
Correct.
And so you have to keep learning each other.
Yes, sir.
Every single day.
You have to keep learning each other.
I always keep telling people. You think you be married 6, 7, 8 months that you know the person. You don't know them. Every day they're changing. We've been married 30-some years, and every day like you said, you keep learning,
Yes,
keep learning, and keep learning
each other.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna grow.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make the decision whether you're gonna grow together or grow apart.
All right, now you
Because you're
talking.
gonna grow.
Yes, sir. You talking good. All right,
Yeah.
I see you, babe. All right, I give you what you want.
I gotta write that down.
Decision that you have to make.
And it's so true too. And you can't look at it. This is not a fairy tale.
No.
This is no game. You have to be in this for the long haul, and you got to be willing to give and take, just like you said. And this, a lot of times people get married for, I don't know. And I think a lot of young people, they follow so much on social media because they see these big elaborate weddings and other things. I'm still trying to get to this baby revealing thing, but they put so much into that, and 3 months later they divorce. So they're not really setting an example for these younger people that's coming up. They don't care. They so wrapped up in what they're doing there. But honestly, these people don't know you. They don't really care about you as long as you buy their product and like and comment on their stuff. But in the meantime, you're going through real life.
Real life.
And real life is no joke. So I have to kind of be like, listen, even when we be in, as a matter of fact, in our counseling session, we told one couple, we really don't think y'all should be trying to get married. And not only that, if y'all do, we want no part of that.
Yep.
Absolutely. I was sharing that with a young lady just last week. If I don't think that you should get married, I'm not going to perform your ceremony.
Right. No, we ain't doing that.
Because actually, I'm accountable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Eric said. Well, babe, I'm having this problem. I was like, no, babe, we can't say, okay, we're gonna sign this. No. They shouldn't be getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And I won't marry anyone if I have not done their premarital.
Premarital counsel. I gotta.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they don't understand the weight of a pastor, doing that for them. Because like you said, we're accountable to that. Because we're giving a seal of approval.
Right.
We're telling everybody, yes, we approve this. What them standing in front of here, we approve this, and and so people will look at us, and when they get going through something and they divorce because of some crazy stuff, and they be looking at us. Well, y'all said they was good to go. No, I'm not.
I'm being the back, not me.
Because if you show me that this isn't what you're supposed to be doing,
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to give you the tools in counseling.
Right.
It's up to you to use
The tools. Yeah.
So, but if I see beforehand that this is not a good decision, I'm not going to do it. You can go somewhere else and get it.
That's
done.
right. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
You know, and don't invite us.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
come.
I
I
don't
can't
even
see
need
you.
any
I
part
can't
of
see a train wreck.
Yeah.
So yeah, but thank you so much for coming out.
Yes, thank you so
for
much.
having
Remember, if you got some questions, we got about 5 more minutes. If you got some questions, you can call in at 754-222-2219, or you can type your questions down there, and we'll ask the questions for you if you don't want to call in. But this was good. I think this was needed.
Very much so.
You know, just like how Ferg was, you said something, the same thing that Ferg said, is that while you are married before the sickness happened, you got to make sure you plan for things.
Yeah.
Put, like you say, get love on your spouse, spend time with your spouse, do all the things with your, put something in the bank for your spouse.
Absolutely.
Because when that sickness happens, don't matter who it is, there's some things that you're not going to be able to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so you need to make sure that you're in this marriage because you love the person and that you care for the person, and not because you can go to bed with them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree with
Absolutely.
that.
Because as we change, sometimes things don't work anymore.
Right.
Right,
Like,
right.
whoa.
Yeah. So that cannot be the basis of your relationship.
Can't be the basis.
It cannot be. It can't be the basis of a relationship, because what happens after we start getting older, and some sicknesses might take place where you may not be able to function anymore.
Right. Right.
Function sexually. So what are you going to do then if that's what your marriage is based on?
That's so true.
So we have to, and that's one good thing. I'm glad that my husband was my friend. My husband was my friend. So our marriage was a whole lot deeper than the sexual component.
Yeah. Yes.
Man.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were friends.
That's good. That is so good.
That's good. That's good.
Really, I'm truly, really enjoying this conversation.
We'll be here all
I
day.
don't want it to end.
I just wanted to let everybody know as well too, is that you can help us create more programming. We would love to hire a producer, so I don't have to be doing all of this stuff, and an engineer.
How much does it pay?
Right?
Yeah, we would love to do all that stuff and have somebody set up, for us, and I don't have to come out and just do all this stuff. We would love that to happen and greet our guests or whatever. So, you can always donate to us as well. Marriage in Real Life is by Zelle, Marriage in Real Life at reallifesfl.church, or by Cash App at $ Marriage in Real Life. Also, you can also, if you're on YouTube, you could hit those buttons there and donate through YouTube as well. So we would love that to happen. Ferg says, hey, also teach other things.
Each other.
Yeah. Teach each other things that they don't know. He says, like passwords, finances, where you want to be buried, and you rotate planning. He mentioned something called the I love you box. He said you should make a I love you box where it says, I'm not leaving you. Pastor Barr, I preached a message about the widow woman, and how she went to Elisha and told Elisha, said, my husband, he was under the prophets, and he feared God, and now they're getting ready to take my children. And I said to the church, I said, he ministered so much. He was in the school, but he didn't leave his wife no life insurance. Now they're coming because he owes. He owed a debt. Now they coming to church. We cannot be like that. We cannot. We got to make sure that we're taking care. As far as me, I got to make sure that I'm taking care of my wife. And the I love you box is something that's good, where you know the passwords, everything we talk about, and sometimes people don't want to talk about death,
Right?
But that's
necessary.
It's necessary
because it's a reality.
Yeah, it's the reality. If something happened, and we can't wait until I'm about almost dying to talk about it.
Right. My husband, we did talk about it. We talked about it quite often, more than I wanted to. And he left, babe, here's my phone. All of my passwords are here, right here in my phone. He had an envelope where he had papers in the envelope, his living will, his and everything, that was supposed to make my decisions a lot easier. Easier. But and even down to his funeral.
Mm.
Nice.
Because at first he didn't want one.
Mm.
And I'm like, listen, babe, people have to have closure.
Yeah.
They have to have closure. You can't do this to the people. And so he agreed. He says, okay, so what you can do, you can have a funeral, but if you can't preach my funeral, I don't want anybody else preaching my funeral. You've been the one that's been there for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he preached his own eulogy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't think that I would be strong enough to stand in front of the people and do a eulogy. I'm like, I told my daughter, I can't stand up in front of these people and cry for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you how the Lord works. My sister was putting together pictures for the booklet for the funeral program. She was and we were going through the computer and she was pulling pictures, and YouTube popped up with his sermon where he was talking about himself.
Mm.
And as we sat there and listened to it, I said, that's his eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's his eulogy.
Mm-hmm. That was
Because
good.
it was all about him. It was about his life.
That was good.
And so what we did is, we cut some of the stuff out so it would be sensitive to the time. That's how he ended up doing his own eulogy.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
And you know what the funeral home told me? They said, all the years we've done funerals, we've never done one like that.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
They said, we have never.
Eric and I talked about it for weeks.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
That
Like,
was
this
good.
is just like, wow. But he
Yeah.
was just so in tune with God and with his life. It just opened up so many, just so many windows in my head. I was like, I would want to do that for myself, but you have to live that life.
Yeah.
You have to live that life.
And it was funny because I had a couple of pastors say, I'm going home now and do a video. For my. I'm going to go and do a video for my funeral, for my eulogy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, but that's how that came about, because he said, you can do a concert and let that be it and all, because he loved music. Even though he couldn't sing, he loved good singing.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, we'll just do a concert and let that be it. And then when I saw okay, so that's going to be his eulogy right there.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah.
Well, hey, what a good night. What a good night.
Yeah.
Man, this was good. If I don't cut it off, we'll be here all night. But this is good. I just want to thank you, Pastor Annette, for being open. Because I know it could still hurt. You've been married all that time. You loved him and he loved you, and I just want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come and talk to people about that marriage vow to death do us part. And in sickness and in health. I'm so glad that you accept the invitation.
I'm so glad you invited me. And in closing, I just want to say this one thing, because again, we were talking about how people don't take it seriously,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but they have to realize that vow that they're making to each other, they are making a vow to each other, but they're making the vow before God.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Before God.
Yes.
So they need to take that seriously.
Yes. Need to
Right.
take it very seriously.
I agree. Ooh.
All right. Well, want to say good night. Please make sure you comment, like, and share. We want to make sure we get enough likes. Please comment, like, and share, and listen to all on wherever you listen for your podcast. Make sure you listen for this particular podcast. Go and download it on Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever. And we're so glad that you could be on. So glad, huh, babe?
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. And share it with your friends.
Yes. Share it with your marriage couples and you're single.
Those ones that's thinking about getting
yes, sir.
married.
Share it with them. And we again,
the sincerity of it.
Yes, sir. Yes. And again, Pastor Annette, we thank you so much for being with us.
If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire podcast. And for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please rate and review our show on your favorite podcast channel. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in this topic. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or on any social media networks at Marriage in Real Life Podcast. See you in 2 weeks for a new episode.